You may ask, how did this tradition get started? I'll tell you. I don't know. But it's a tradition. And because of our traditions, every one of us knows who he is and what God expects him to do.
Day and night must scramble for a living.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Torah. I am Rabbi Tzvi Jacobson with NM Streamcast, and we'll spend our time talking Torah, learning stuff, and having fun while we learn. You can always send your questions in the comments to our mailbag at letstalktorah@gmail.com, and of course, I will answer as many as I can. Or you can find our shows at our amazing webpage at letstalktorah.net. That's letstalktorah.net, or of course, anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. But on our webpage, you can send us your questions and comments, and you could even join the show if you want. And most important, that special donate button, that when you press the button, we become millionaires. Or at least you have the opportunity to help us continue to do our amazing work here in the amazing, beautiful studios of NM Streamcast. And of course, we do thank you in advance for your help. And we are top 10 in FeedSpot's 10 best Jewish book podcasts, and we are number 5. So if you know anything about, like the Jewish mother, so they never like the idea of like, even by mistake, of like cursing somebody. They want you to talk nicely. Like if you're having a conversation and you'll say, if you have a heart attack, you're trying to explain like what would happen, what people do, what doctors do. You'd be surprised how often we use the word you. And no, don't say you, say someone else. So this week's Torah portion is the blessings and the curses for the Jewish people. It's debatable what the blessings come for. Does it mean you're working hard in Torah study? Does it actually specifically refer to keeping the sabbatical year, keeping the Jubilee year? That's every 7 years, the Grand Lays Fallow in Israel, and 7 times 7, and you have the Jubilee year, and there's a list of blessings we're going to talk about, and then what comes afterwards if the Jewish people are not following the laws. And interesting enough, I was teaching my class today that those curses come, it says, because you didn't serve God happily. You weren't in a I don't want to say happy is the word is simcha, or joy. But that's not the idea. The example I give it to my class, imagine your mother asks you to clean up your room. Now we're dealing with third graders, right? So your mother says, clean up your room. And you put on a sour face, and why do you make me do these things? And you slam the door, and you throw things, and you tantrum. And I asked my class, I said, so how do you think your mother appreciates that? She asked you for a favor, and you just carry on, you're all miserable and grumpy. So they understand, what does she need that for? Right? Your mother would rather do it herself than if that's your attitude. I said, what do you think God feels like when he asks you to do a command and you're the same grumpy person? I can't believe I have to do this, and I hate doing this, and what a bother and what a trouble. You think God needs that? You think God needs your help? Right? So if that's your attitude towards doing what God asks, he don't need you. He don't need your help. So therefore, it comes along with all these curses. So I saw a cute story. Now you have to know, in this week's Torah portion, the person called up for the Torah, for the portion of the curses, and the curses are not broken up. It's all one big portion. Nobody wants that portion. Probably for good reason. They almost feel like if a person's getting that aliyah, that Torah portion. The curse is almost like he's saying, like, the curses should come on me. And in many synagogues, it's the person reading the Torah who gets that portion, because he can think whatever he wants, right? He's not going to think about himself. So one year there was a synagogue, and nobody wanted that Torah portion. They used to take turns, it seems. Nobody wanted it. It seems a lot of people had a run of bad luck, so they actually had a board meeting and said, who are we going to give this Torah portion to? We should give it to the rabbi. It's the rabbi's job. The rabbi didn't want it. So the rabbi says, my contract says I get the third, I'm called up third every week. And that portion is the fifth. This is in my contract. Oh, okay, we can't give it to the rabbi. Maybe we can give it to this person. No, I'm not taking it. And they know what to do. Anyways, I guess the conversation spilled out of the boardroom. There's one of the schleppers walking around, and he says, "What's the problem?" Well, we need someone to take the portion of the curses. I'll do it. You will? Cost you $50. $50? It's worth it. We'll pay you $50. Okay, great. You be here. You know what time prayers start. You be here. Oh yeah, I'll be there. Sure enough, comes Shabbos morning, and the guy doesn't show up. And they're nervous. Someone's got to take that Torah portion. What are we going to do? And the rabbi figures before the Torah reading, he's gonna give the speech. Instead of after the Torah reading, he'll do it before, because the guy's late. He's talking slow. It's like sometimes when you give a podcast and you got to finish a thought and you slow down because you're watching the clock and you're trying to get everything to end exactly perfectly. And then they're still not there. They start the Torah portion, and he rolls in like a minute before they need to call him up. And so after, okay, gets the Torah portion, and they say, I don't understand. You said if we pay you $50, you'll be here. He said, come on. You think I can make any money just getting this Torah portion once? You are my fourth customer today. Right? Because nobody wants the portion and he needs money. So hello, I'll do it 100 times for $50. Not me, but anyways. So that's just to give you a little feeling for people's outlook, and really what I would like to discuss, we'll see if we get to it in the first show, but certainly when we get to the second show, I want to try to bring out this point of what should our attitude be when we're looking at the Torah portion of the curses. What's our attitude? What's our feeling? It's just if you're bad, you're going to get punished. How do we feel about it? But first, I want to deal with the blessings. The blessings are really fascinating. First of all, you need to know all the blessings are physical stuff for the most part. All what we call gashmias, all physical, produce and children, and all good stuff, by the way, don't get me wrong, and peace and victory and a good economy and soldiers won't come through your country and there's a whole list, but none of them are spiritual. So you tell me if I keep God's commands, so for my short lifespan of 80, 90, we say 70, 80, 90 years, and my whole reward is that my farm did well and I had some children and soldiers didn't come and take my crops. I mean, it's nice stuff, don't get me wrong. It's a good life. But there's more to life than this world. Right? I'm looking forward to what I'm earning in the next world. So why is that the blessing? And it's a good question. And one of the answers is that the Torah has to tell me something I relate to. What's it going to tell me about the next world? We don't talk about the next world so much in the Torah. It's not describable. All I can understand is what this world is all about. So if you can help me imagine the goodness in this world, imagine what's going to happen in the second world. So that's really what's going on. But the easiest thing to do is to sort of break up the blessings into 5 categories, and we'll talk about some of the blessings in each category. So there's 5 categories. Let's just hit the 5. Number 1, there'll be an abundance of, I'm going to say fruit, but it means produce. Clean air, fresh water, rain. Like the idea of clean air, fresh water is because it's going to be a blessing of rain. That's number 1. Category number 2 is peace. First of all, you don't have to worry about invading soldiers, but even animals or crime. Third category is victory over your enemies. Now, as the Jewish people are assured that if they have to go to war, they'll be massively victorious. Number 4 is the concept of multiplying. First of all, you'll have a lot of children. And second of all, the economy will just be flourishing. Talking about children, it was just, I'm coming from school, and I had a friend come down to school. I haven't spoken to him in a couple of years. He offered to come to school. It was great. Come. We walked around. We talked. So we're walking down the hallway, and a little girl. Maybe she's in 2nd grade. I have no idea who this girl is. I don't know 2nd grade girls, or 3rd or 4th or 5th. Like, how should I know who they are? Unless you really look like one of your siblings that I taught, then I might know who you are. Anyways, she just announces to me and this fellow walking down the hallway, you know, my mommy had a baby. I said, that's so nice. So what's your name? Devora. Hello, this is not going to help me. I don't know who you are. You can't tell me your first name. So she tells me her mother's name. Oh, and I happen to have heard in the office, because I've taught her brothers that her mommy had a baby. Oh, so nice. Multiplying children. It's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's category number 4. And category number 5 is that God's presence will rest amongst us. 5 categories, right? One more time. Abundance of produce, peace, victory, multiplying, and God will dwell amongst us. Okay. So first things first is rain. The first major blessing in category number 1 is rain. In other words, first, right, we're dealing with your keeping the sabbatical year. One of the big deals is that if you keep the sabbatical year, then God will take care of you. So you have to understand, keeping the sabbatical year means that I am not planting, I am not hoeing, I am not plowing, I am not pruning, I am leaving my fields totally empty. Okay, to be fair, I can make sure they don't get destroyed, but I'm not taking care of them. It's ownerless. Anybody who wants to come and take produce, I have to let them into the field. I can't lock up my gates to protect my fields. So you have a whole year of no produce. Now that year is not such a problem because you planted last year. But what's going to be next year? So it happens to be keeping the Shemitah means that God is forcing us to trust Him. So you're not going to plant a whole year. So now when I get to technically the 8th year, I have nothing to rely on, and I have to plant for the following year. So I'm working now, and I got nothing. So the Torah tells us you're going to keep the Shemitah. God's going to increase your produce, especially in the 6th year, so you have enough to put away to cover the sabbatical year, the Shemitah year, and even the 8th year. And sometimes you even need to get into the 9th year. So rain is where it's going to start. Right? The land of Israel, to survive, needs rain. I mean, the world needs rain, right? But if you're in Egypt, so officially your water supply is not coming from rain. Your water supply is coming from the Nile, even though they dammed it up. But okay, that's their issue. I live in Michigan, right? So we have the fresh water, the Great Lakes. So we have water supplies. We're not like other parts of the country that if it's not raining, they are in big trouble. So first of all, I'm going to have rain, and it's going to be my rain. It's going to rain for me, and I'm going to become wealthy because of it. The outside nations will be reliant on me for produce. They're going to have to come to me. But what's interesting is the verse is your rain. It says, the Torah says, I will give your rain in its proper time. So the language, your rain, makes it sound like that it's my actions, it's my good deeds that brought this rain. A little bit different, but I think it's beautiful. There's the Meshech Chochmah. The Meshech Chochmah says that you'll recognize the miracles of nature. So I had a boy in class probably 2 weeks ago. He was telling me, I can't remember what the topic was, but he was telling me that it's a miracle. I said, it's not a miracle. It's nature. I said, it doesn't mean that God is not in control of nature. It doesn't mean that God didn't do it, but it's not called a miracle. He could not handle this conversation. He's in third grade. But it is interesting that there's miracle, there's miraculous. Miraculous means outside of nature. I mean, not normal. Nature, it means that's how God set up the world and how it runs. But of course, God's doing the whole thing. That doesn't change, right? That's all the same. But the point is that when I look into nature and I see how God takes care of me and how the produce is grown and how everything is taken care of, and all of a sudden I'm getting more than what's normal. So I'll recognize God's hand and how he's taking care of me. And there's all kinds of stories like this I've told you in the past, because when we talk about the sabbatical year, which is not, I'm not looking for that to be my main topic today, but there was that famous kibbutz called Komius, that they were religious. And in the 50s, the Israeli government did not like the idea of a kibbutz being religious and keeping the sabbatical year. Like, how do you leave those fields alone? You can't do that to us. And there were all kinds of miracles that took place. They got rain. Neighboring farms didn't get rain. They had a huge increase in their 6th year produce while everybody else was status quo. There was a locust attack one time. It didn't affect them. It was even in the nature, when we're doing what we're supposed to do, right? Even then, I get to see God's miracles if I choose to open my eyes. If I open my eyes, I'll see God's miracles. If I don't open my eyes, I can be fooled to believe it, whatever I want. Okay, let's get into the next category. So the next category is what we called peace. Now, peace is not just that it looks like everything is fine, but under the surface, things are going on, right? Where there's evil going on, but maybe I could choose to ignore it. It's like with my friend, we're having conversations, a political, which I try to stay away from because you never know which side of the spectrum somebody's on, what he considers outright lies, what the other guy considers 100% truth. You just never know. And I don't even like it doesn't do anything for me. But the point is that when we talk about peace, the Torah is telling me there'll be real peace. In other words, people will be friendly with each other, not stabbing each other in the back. Neighbors do not want to take over your farm. Countries do not want to invade. It's not just they're being nice till the winds change. The Ohr HaChaim takes it even further, right? That everyone can live harmoniously. I was going to say in harmony, but I just thought that word sounds better, right? There's peace in the world, so we will feel safe, right? If in the land of Israel, if all the nations around them are waving their sabers, as they say, right? So just because I might be bigger and stronger today, but I don't feel safe. I want that everybody's together, everybody's at peace, everybody's making money, which is how certain politicians feel, which has its merit. Right? That if everybody's making money, what do I want to go to war for? I want to make money. I want to have a nice house. I want to have beautiful farms. I want to have good schools. I want to have nice roads. I want to have parks. I want to have places to go and enjoy. I want to go to the beach, right? if everybody in the world is satisfied, right? So then it's good for Israel as well, because you don't have time to go to war. You're busy trying to make money. And maybe a step further, which is really taking this concept of peace pretty far, and that is being satisfied. Part of peace is I'm satisfied with what I have. Yes, we all want to make money, but if I have enough and I'm satisfied, so I don't have to fight with you. I'm not looking to destroy you so I can have more money. I'm satisfied with what I have. If I'm satisfied, if you are satisfied, that's what it says, by the way, during the 7 years of plenty in Egypt. So the language is that in the dream, the cows looked healthy. So what do you mean the cows looked healthy? Meaning everybody looked at everybody else. Everybody looked at themselves as my stuff is good. So if I look at me and my stuff is good, I don't care about you. I'm not jealous about you. You're not jealous about me. So not only are we wealthy, not only making money, but we're happy with where we are. And that brings real peace. Okay, category number 3, because we got to get rolling here, is what we call victory. So it says 5 will chase 100, and it says 100 will chase 10,000. So I said to my class today, I said the math doesn't work. 5 chasing 100 is every person chases 20. 100 chasing 10,000 is each person chasing 100. So what gives? So, I mean, it should be obvious, but the more people that are serving God properly, then the more He's going to take care of us, right? There's power in numbers, and there's power in numbers of people doing the right thing. Then the question is, it says your enemies will fall by the sword. So the question is, what does that mean? So some explain, first of all, that they're running away. Now, you could explain it to mean you'll kill them, or they're going to kill each other. That's part of victory. Also, it says over there that foreign armies won't go through your nation, even if they're not fighting with you. Now, that unfortunately was the terrible mistake that Yoshio King Yoshio made, that mistake that he thought he was so religious and he was eradicating all idol worship, which he wasn't, but at least it wasn't public anymore. But they were hiding their idols from him. His soldiers didn't find them. And the Pharaoh Paranacheh was his name, he wanted to go fight, I guess, with Syria, and he asked permission to go through the land of Israel. And Yoshio said no. This Paranacheh said, "What are you, crazy? I have this humongous army. What do you mean you're? What do you mean you're not going to let me through?" No, my Torah says that armies won't go through, foreign armies won't go through my land if I'm good, and I'm good. So Paranacheh said, "I'm going through. Like, you could try to stop me, but if I was you, I'd get out of the way." So Yoshio goes out with his army. He says, "You're not allowed to go through." So this Paranacheh tells his soldiers, forget his army. Aim your arrows at the king. We're getting rid of the king, and we're marching through. We'll be done. And sure enough, he was killed. But when Jeremiah runs over, he bends down, and Yeshua admits that he made a mistake, that he thought he was better than he was. And but that's the concept. Category number 4, as my time is ticking, is what we call a flourishing economy. Children, healthy, a lot. Women will give birth, low mortality rate. There'll be quantity and quality. And interesting, it says you'll also export produce, but only old stuff. Now you have so much old stuff that you can take the new stuff and you'll export the older produce. That's what we call a flourishing economy. And last but not least of the 5 categories is God's presence will come down. It will be public. There will be open miracles. And it says even in exile. And even if individuals may not deserve, but if in general the Jewish people are acting the way they're supposed to act, then God will take care. Now, there's an interesting word that explains this. It's called Hashgacha Pratis. Hashgacha Pratis means that God runs everything. That we know God runs everything. But the question is, do you see it? And I know at home we try to mention all the time, when something works out, that your first reaction is supposed to be that, you see, God's taking care of me. You see how God worked this out to perfectly balance what you need. What you needed, when you needed, how you needed, that's like in life. There's like always stories of when you're going to need something, God already set it up. It's already prepared for you. But the music is now playing, but we're going to get into this in the next show, so stick around. The music's playing. I hope you enjoyed it. Short and sweet. Thank you, of course, to all our wonderful sponsor listeners, and I can't do it without you. Thank you for the production team. We have Alan in the back. I hope I've left you some food for thought. Until next time, I am Rabbi Tzvi Jacobson. You've been listening to Let's Talk Torah on NRM Streamcast. Until next time, don't forget to think about it.
A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things.